Today's lesson is going to be about triads because lately triads have become probably one of the most important things I've learned as far as soloing and when soloing involves chord tone soloing and even a little bit into jazz when it gets into the very common 2-5-1 progression. We have chord tones, triads that can help us. And what we're going to learn first today, we'll do another lesson on triads on the um, uh, 2, 3, and 4 strings. But today we're going to concentrate on the high E, the B, and the G. I'm not going to give them any numbers. So instead of the instead of the numbers that I just said, the next lesson will be about the D, G, and B string triads, which are almost like a reverse image of these. Like major becomes minor, and the minor shapes become major, which is kind of a confusing. It gets some extra memorization has to happen there. But anyways, it's great to start here on the G, B, and E strings as I've written down here, so we know where we are. So chord tones, and I'm going to show you what then becomes chord tone clusters. Because first you'll learn them like this, but then you realize that these chord tones or triads, I keep saying chord tones because I had some other lesson about chord tones I was going to do earlier, but we decided to do triads instead. These triads cluster between major and minor for things like a 2-5-1 or a 1-4-5. They get really handy, and I want to show you that. But to start with, what you want to know is that there are, funny thing with triads are 3-note chords, the basic chord, a 1, a 3, and a 5. 1 and 5 always go together. They're like the shell of the chord. Then one of these notes has to make it major or minor, and that's the third. The third is the worker. And on this chart, the third is in blue. The 1 is in green. It looks like a 1. I used a triangle for the 5, and then a big square, blue square for the 3. You can do whatever you want, but that denotes the 1-3-5 without having to get too sloppy writing in there or whatever. You can even just write 1-3-5 in there, whatever. And the interesting thing that I was going to say is that there's 3 shapes to learn before they repeat. So they're 3-note chords, and they repeat 3 times. Now chords, just a little, in case you're confused and you think, well, what about 4-note chords? Well, those are in jazz. A 4-note chord includes the 7th, which we don't have to worry about today just yet. It's a handy thing to have, but remember, your 7th is always just before your 1, right? So you have your major 7th and your flatted 7th, respectively. Okay, so not anything we're going to cover today. We just want to know the basics of triads. So to learn these across the neck, you want to memorize these shapes. This is minor, and this is the major pattern. And you can see what the difference is. This makes a nice angular shape. I'll show it to you here. We'll play it here. Sounds kind of minor, right? And then we'll move it up. We'll move that third up. And there's that major chord sound. So minor, major. All right. So to get to this next shape, if you find it hard, you might have memorized that, this is an angle, this is a complete straight up and down, and this shape is what you remember from learning your very first chords when you learn D minor down here. And what do you know? We're learning minor triads. That D minor shape is one of the triads. Here it's a D, there it's an E, F, G, A, B, C, back to D. Okay, so That being said, aside from, you want to know all three shapes. So, for example, so all in D. D minor, D minor, D minor. If you're ever playing and you're struggling to find that next, you want to, maybe you got some extended time to play some D minor. Well, these, and you are lost for a scale, but you know the chord that's happening, you could hear all that? Because you're dancing around, going to, doesn't sort of matter the step you choose, is there's some flexibility there. Some will sound better than other, but the step away is coming back to a chord tone. And you can get by playing a good sounding solo just by knowing these chord tones, or triad shapes, which are chord tones, right? So, that being said, if you're ever lost, how did I find all those shapes really quick? Well, we'll use the octave. It just stands to logical reason that if there's an octave there available, that note is going to be, it's the same note, it's going to be in the next version of the very same triad. So 1 3 5, and this is 3 5 1. This line here shows you how you just skip 2 frets, and look at the bottom string 2 frets ahead. So in other words, I'm looking at this note. If I was lost, this would be the G string at the 7th fret. I'm going to be looking at the E string at the 10th fret. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I know that this is here. You just have to know what shape comes after what shape. Now I'm going to give you some tips on how to know these shapes and even expand them into the lower strings. Just keep in mind that this, I wrote right here 5 string, because this is basically the bottom or the upper half of that 5 string chord that you already know. This is the top of the 6th string D minor that you already know. And this is pretty much a C chord in a kind of an unusual shape that we don't learn when we first learn guitar. But there you have it. It's part of the C chord, which would normally, if it was major, would be. Anyways, so there's all that. Now we want to learn major. It's a very similar thing, and you can really just think about moving your blue note up. So where you had this before as an angle, move the blue note up, and it's still the 5-string chord. Which is basically what is known as the A shape that you learned. Now we need to know where the next shape is. Going to do the octave and then go down here. And now we know that The blue note is there. And it's our 6-string chord. Minor. Major. And you can also think of that as the F chord that you learn from the open cowboy chords. So there's a little out of tune there. There we go. Okay, so major, D major, and we know a D major chord from here. What we learned. Voice sounds like shit. That explains it. Sometimes it sounds musical and cool to just go from major to minor on the same chord, and you can do that with these triads. Now let's just investigate some clusters here really fast. Let's say we wanted to play a 2-5-1. You might think that it would be like 2 down here, 5 up here, 1 up here, the same kind of way that these are spread out across the neck. However, it doesn't work like that. There's actually 3 different spots. Once again, triad 3 different spots where you could play a 2-5-1 and bring it all the way up the neck. Let's explore a 2-5-1 using D minor, G major, and C major. So D being the 2 chord, G being the 5 chord, C being the 1 chord. The 2 is always minor, so we'll use that 2 and D. Let's start down here. We've got this distortion happening. I really want a clean sound. But however, if I use I barely get any volume. Use the other microphone, I guess. Kind of an unfortunate thing about a hot rod guitar like this. It doesn't like play clean. Anyways, using our D minor shape down here, we need a G major shape. Well, where would our closest G be? Well, that would be here. So we could play but we could also play here. You thinking of our 2, 5, 1. We could go backwards. We can go like this and go the D minor shape up to the G. And you can hear how that makes like a complete sounding progression. That's the popularity of the 2-5-1. That and resolve. And we can go up with that too. Let's so it would be. Now we were keeping one note. during the G and C. Is there a note in the G major triad that's also in the C major triad? Well, let's see here. G, B, D, and C, E, G. Oh, the G. Right there. It sounds kind of cool like that. Play the 1, 5, 2, 5, 1. So now we have our next two 5-1 right up another group of frets here. There's our 5-string D minor. So where would our next G be? Let's see. The G chord here. G chord here. And G chord here. So we were here. And where's our C chord? We need a minor shape, a major minor shape, D major shape, and then that 6th string for the C. So once again, now we have. Oops. I've just taken a 2-5-1 right up the frets there. It's kind of neat, huh? You can also do that with a 1-4-5. I'm going to let you guys work this out since we're going on 17 minutes now. And my goal is to try to keep these lessons a little bit shorter now. So easier to upload and easier for everybody to download in their brain. So I think it's more fun if you guys do the homework there too. So figure out 1-4-5 for yourself, write it out on a graph paper, and you can go from there. We'll even complete the last 2-5-1 there just for lesson edification. D minor, G major, C major. And that sounds right because if this is D major, just down here, the octave below, that's D, down a whole step from D is C. Alright, I'll see you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed the lesson and maybe a new channel name if I'm gonna rename my channel, maybe Mark Junkie Lessons, something like that. Fretboard Hack, I don't know. We're still thinking about it. Have any suggestions, throw it our way. Alright, have a great day.